Welcome to Drinking with Craig and Roger. I'm Craig.
I'm Roger.
What have you brought me today?
Well, this was a Christmas gift. It's a couple of bottles of the Glenlivet, different expression. The first one is a double oaked expression, and it is in American oak casks. And so that's this one. The other one, a tiny little addition, is in a cognac barrel. Now what they've done is that they've taken the regular Glenlivet that is their traditional product, and they've put it into a second barrel for a year or two towards the end, and then bottled it. And this is really kind of indicative of what's happened in Scotch whiskey over the last 4 decades. You see, the single malts are used mostly for blending, even Glenlivet. So the largest proportion of what they make goes for blends. And for that to be useful, they have to have a consistent taste. So for a very long time, they tried to produce something which tastes the same. And that was very important. It was so important that the distillery manager at Linkwood wouldn't even allow cobwebs to be swept away for fear it might affect the quality of the taste of the whiskey. So they wanted it to be the same so that they could be consistent when it was sold for blends and blah, blah, blah. But over the last 20 years or so, we've expanded our horizons. And so instead of just having Glenlivet at 12 or Glenlivet at 16, they've done different things in the way they've aged it to come up with different kinds of expressions, and not just Glenlivet. Most of them are single malts. That's why there's a plethora of different expressions of whiskeys. They all have a little different taste. Some of them are very, very, very expensive, hundreds of dollars. Glenlivet, at least when it comes from distillery bottling like this one, is usually in the low $30 per bottle. So it's a pretty affordable whiskey. It's a classic. It was the first Scotch distillery to be legal. So when it was first licensed in 1824, that's when it was licensed. So it's been legal as long as any ones.
Only 1824? That's the earliest one?
For legality. Before that, they were done against the law, which is kind of nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So at any rate, that's what we have here. And I thought we might try it.
Definitely.
Now, Glenlivet, of course, is a Speyside Highland malt, and it is known for being fairly light body and very sweet. And it doesn't have a lot of smoke. How are you having a little trouble?
I'm really struggling. Is it known for being particularly difficult to open? I got it now.
Oh, you got it?
I gotta get it. I have no nails. So,
okay. Well,
for a...
Okay, well...
Let's see. This is... boy, I'm making a fool of myself. Might have to do a magic dissolve where it's just open. Bottle, magically open yourself.
I've got it.
It's really on there.
Well, you might want to edit that a little bit.
Ta-da! Wow.
There we have it. Okay.
Okay.
Phew. All right.
I've had this once before. I really enjoyed it. But I can't, quite recall the profile, so definitely looking forward to trying it again.
Well, I have a little anecdote about Glenlivet too.
Okay.
I had a really good friend. His name was Timothy Gantz, and early in his career, he was at a liquor store
Nice.
looking at blended Scotch whiskeys, and suddenly this guy came over and said, "Nay, laddie, that's not what you want," and he gave him a bottle of Glenlivet and said, "That's a Scotch whiskey."
Wow, that was in Athens, Georgia?
No, that was actually in Atlanta at Pearson's.
Oh, wow. That's a smart guy.
Yeah.
Changed his life.
Oh, it's changed his life. Yeah, Gantz got into single malts, and he got me interested in them.
Yeah. Wow, it smells really, really good. Apples, very fresh cut grass.
Yep. Lighter body than the Highland Park that we just tried.
Very, yeah, way lighter, way less complex.
But just as sweet. Yeah, it's a nice, clean, fruity smell to it.
Yeah.
Good nose. Sure. I'm not getting too much on the finish. We probably should be able to taste a little bit of the grass and the moss around where they.
I tell you, I could detect that grassy, that really fresh cut grass kind of. I don't know. It smells and tastes like spring. It's the best I can.
Well, apparently though, the American oak did not used to contain bourbon. Because otherwise, I don't taste any bourbon in this at all. So it's a plain oak cask that they used for the second one, and I don't think it really made much difference, to be honest. I don't think it added too much to it.
I could see that. Although I think compared to the regular stock Glenlivet that you get, it seems it's a little more refined tasting to me. A little less, I don't want to say harsh, but I feel like the alcohol is a little less forward in this one. If memory serves, it's been a long time since I've had stock Glenlivet.
It's pretty much like this, but we can try it against another expression of Glenlivet.
Now that I definitely want to do.
And that's this one right here.
Okay.
This one in cognac barrels for the last little bit of its aging life.
Sounds really good.
I have to thank my friend Wanda who gave this to me for Christmas. You smell a difference here.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
For sure.
Much more butterscotchy.
Yeah, you're right. Butterscotch.
Right on the nose.
Still get kind of like a strawberry apple fruitiness.
But that's the big smell there. That's different.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the fresh smell, flowery smell is a little more subdued in the one that was in the cognac barrel. That's a much fuller taste.
It is.
Much, fuller bodied.
You're right.
It's got more of an aftertaste too. The finish is different.
Yeah, it has a much longer finish. Let's see, compare the legs here. It's definitely a dark. It's already a slightly darker color. When you compare the two, it's got
it is
more so-called legs. More body in the glass, which you can taste.
Oh, I don't
the viscosity.
Maybe slightly more in the legs, but they both have pretty good legs.
It's nice. Let's see, we go back to the original, or the 12-year.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. I didn't say this, but the little one here is 14 years. So,
yes.
So maybe the extra 2 years are spent in the cognac barrel.
They're good. They're not that. I don't know. Going side by side, it's not a huge difference.
No, it's a tiny difference.
Tell. Yeah, you can tell it's the same juice going in there. I haven't seen this one or priced it. I'm not sure how it compares? Have you ever seen a standalone bottle of that? You ever noticed?
I haven't looked for it.
Yeah.
I just happened to get it as a gift, so I thought it would be useful to try this and just talk to the folks about this and let you know that it's available and how it compares to this one, which is the double-barreled one. And I'm pretty sure the double-barreled one is a tiny bit different, than the standard 12-year-old Glenlivet. Not much. This one, the 14-year-old in the cognac barrel is more different.
For sure, yeah. The going back and forth a number of times, yeah. The double barrel, 12 years, significantly lighter, which may be like more preferable for some people. Particularly, I feel like this would work well if people like, a piece of ice in there, anything like that. It's very easy drinking, smooth, very non-offensive. Not that this is at all, but there's a little bit more going on in the 14 year.
But my honest opinion is if you want to throw a bunch of ice in it or put orange juice in it or do something like that, don't get Glenlivet. Don't get a single malt.
Get a blend.
Get a blend, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, they're both nice. I like them for sure.
Okay.
I mean, nothing there not to like. You can't go wrong with either one, I think, as long as you're not looking for a ton of complexity and, obviously no smoke. It seems like a similar type of, I would reach for this if I was in the same mood as one that we had previously reviewed, the Speyburn 10.
Yeah, that's a Highland
So I
malt.
pulled some aside. So I would like to just kind of compare it, just to see how the memory holds up and how they compare. Because I think that the Glenlivet might compare pretty favorably over the Speyburn.
Oh, I think so.
A little bit more going on, a little smoother and less.
But remember,
I don't know.
when we had this before, I put
Talk about
a
butterscotch.
little bit of Talisker into it, so it's going to have more smoke than it
That's
normally would.
But first thought when I smell it compared to the other one, like you said, big time butterscotch.
Oh yeah, closer to the one that was aged in cognac barrels.
Yes.
You smell it is.
Well, yep, I taste that Talisker in there. So this may not be the most ideal of comparisons here.
But, okay, Talisker aside and the smoke aside that it wouldn't normally have, okay, what about the body and the sweetness?
Super light.
Yeah, it's very similar. Well, seeing as I like a Scotch whiskey that's got a little bit of smoke in it,
Yeah.
I would prefer the Speyburn with the
Your
the
hack
Talisker.
Speyburn.
The hack Speyburn, I think I would prefer over the Glenlivet. Of course, you could hack the Glenlivet too if you wanted to.
That's true. It would be a good hack.
I think so.
So what now? Which, if you were going to hack one of them, which one do you think would come out a little better?
I'm not sure. I usually pick Speyburn because it's usually $4 or $5 less than the Glenlivet.
Okay. Which in terms of Scotch is nothing, but
But
they are at a similar price point. Speyburn is typically how much?
usually in the high 20s,
Okay.
about 30, and Glenlivet usually is 33, 34, something
These are
like
both,
that.
yeah.
But that doesn't mean that if you don't get some of these special expressions, like putting in a second barrel or whatever, those could be pretty much higher. And if you get some Glenlivet that's been shipped off and bought by a merchant and aged somewhere else on Scotland for who knows how long, you can pay hundreds of dollars for that one.
Yeah, for sure.
So my honest thought is that if you are looking for a good value for your money, the distillery bottling at 12-year-old is generally the best. That's a great age.
Yeah.
The Speyburn is not bottled at 12. That the extra 2 years might do something. Not much, but a little bit. But still, there's a difference between something that's been aged for 12 years and something that's been aged the minimum, which is about 3. And the one at 12 is pretty well aged. If you go to 24 or 30 or 50 or 60, you're talking about hundreds, if not thousands of dollars more.
Yep.
And sometimes if they're in a barrel that long, they begin to taste like the barrel more than they taste like the Scotch.
Yeah.
And another thing is, the longer it ages, the less distinctive it becomes too, because everything sort of
Yeah.
softens.
Yeah.
And eventually, at like 30 years or so, it's kind of hard sometimes to tell Scotch whiskey from cognac or brandy.
Yeah, I have experienced that.
And
One other side note, just looking at these, so both of the Glenlivets are 80 proof, and the Speyburn is 86. So it has just a little bit more kick to it, I guess.
that might explain a lot of it, and that also explains why it's a better value for your money.
It is.
Because it's more intense being 86 than at 80.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All good choices.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, farewell.
Cheers. Have a good one.
All right, there we go.
There we go.